All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The 36th District Court is now in session. We are streaming live on the YouTube channel. This is courtroom 333. I am Judge Miriam Martin Clark presiding. This court is calling Natasha Smith, case number U6405852. Natasha Denise Smith, operating an illegal business. We're also calling Sharmika Smith. It's Miss Sharmika. If it's Miss Tamika Smith, if you're in the virtual courtroom, please say your Natasha Smith. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to do that again because I thought Miss Natasha Smith was already in the courtroom. Okay, we're going to call her case again. Natasha Smith, U6405855. Hey, the way everybody around this. Natasha Denise Smith, please mute your devices, ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Natasha Denise Smith, the charge is operating an illegal business. That matter is scheduled for trial. Ms. Natasha Smith, if you're in the virtual courtroom, please say your name for the record.
Nastasia Smith.
Thank you. Court is also calling Ms. Sharmika Smith. Case number U640750022. Sharmika Smith, operating an illegal business. This is a date and time for trial. Ms. Sharmika Smith, if you're in the virtual courtroom, please say your name for the record.
Sharmika Smith.
Thank you. Mr. James Evans, case number SX405509191. James Evans Jr. The charge is failure to report an accident. Count 2 is security failure or security flaw. And count 3 of that same ticket is improper lane use. All matters are scheduled for trial or formal hearing. Mr. James Smith, if you're in the virtual courtroom, please say your name for the record.
James Evans Jr.
I'm sorry, Mr. Evans. I called you Smith and my error, sir. James Evans Jr. And Mr. Evans, you are connected by audio only. You have no ability to connect with a video camera. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I believe those are all the persons that are in this category. And so I'm going to ask Ms. Payne, if you would please give your appearance and P number for the record.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Sharon Payne, P38749, representing Mr. Evans, Ms. Natasha Smith, and Ms. Sharmika Smith.
And how are we proceeding,
Your Honor,
Ms. Payne?
all three matters are scheduled for trial at 8:35 and 8:30. No police officer has checked in on any of the three. We are moving to dismiss all charges against Mr. Evans and both Ms. Smiths.
Thank you very much. That motion is granted without prejudice. It is 10:28. All officers were notified to be here at 8:30. Because your officers did not appear, Ms. Natasha Smith, Ms. Sharmika Smith, and Mr. James Evans, the court is going to dismiss these matters. However, the people may bring them again if they decide to do so. The court is merely dismissing them because the officer failed to appear. Now, Ms. Natasha Smith, I'm looking at your profile picture, but not your real face. Can you please make your video camera, thank you, visible? All right. Any questions, Ms. Natasha Smith?
No, ma'am.
Any questions, Ms. Sharmika Smith?
No.
Mr. James Evans, any questions?
No, ma'am.
You may disconnect from the hearing. All three of you may disconnect from the hearing. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
And Tamika Schweitzer. Tamika Schweitzer.
I'm here.
is, okay, Ms. Schweitzer, let me call your case number. Case number SP 130998851, Tamika Shante Schweitzer.
Good morning, Your
Now,
Honor.
I'm trying to figure out what this charge is. License never. Do you know what that charge is, Ms. Payne?
I think it's never acquired, but it's not the correct, it is a license violation that they're moving to reduce to failure to display, so it's.
Okay, I'm gonna see if Madam Clerk knows what that charge is. Madam Clerk, for case number SP 130998851. Is there any more description of that charge in your file?
What's the person's name, Your Honor? Tamika Schweitzer?
Yes.
Okay, 1 second. For 1 second.
Charge ending in 9851.
It says drove while license not valid or improper license, school zone.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
And also SP 1309521. The charge is driving 11 to 15 miles over the speed limit. Count 2 of that same ticket is no proof of insurance. All 3 matters for Tamika Schweitzer. Ms. Schweitzer, please say your name for the record.
Tamika Shante Schweitzer.
Thank you. And Ms. Payne, your representation, please.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Sharon Payne, P 38749, representing Ms. Schweitzer. Your Honor, we've had an opportunity to discuss this case. There is an offer by the city attorney that if my client would plead guilty to SP 130998851, which is the license invalid ticket, they would move to amend that charge to failure to display, and that she would plead responsible to the speeding ticket 11 to 15 over, and they would dismiss the no proof of insurance. I've advised my clients of her trial rights in this matter, and she's indicated she wishes to take the plea offer.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Schweitzer,
Yes.
you've heard the representation of your lawyer. Are you in agreement with it, with that representation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you advised of your right to a trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Schweitzer, if you were to have a trial, normally it would take place in person inside of the 36th District Court. But because of the pandemic, the courthouse is closed to the public. And so you have agreed to participate on the Zoom technology today. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you have an opportunity to speak to your attorney about all of your rights?
Yes.
Did anyone threaten you, force you, or promise you anything in exchange for your plea?
No.
Are you pleading guilty of your own free will?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that by pleading guilty, you will be waiving or giving up your right to a trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may lower your hand. On the date, the time, and the location indicated in the ticket ending in 99851. Were you driving a motor vehicle in the city of Detroit?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you stopped by a police officer?
Yes.
Did that police officer ask you for a valid driver's license?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
Were you in a school zone at the time?
I really can't recall, Your Honor.
Okay, I think that's the detail, but it doesn't matter for the purpose of this plea. Did you have a valid license to show to that officer?
No, Your Honor.
And at the same time, in the ticket ending in 95121, are you pleading responsible to driving 11 to 15 miles over the speed limit?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, are you satisfied, Ms. Payne?
Satisfied, Your Honor.
The court will accept the guilty plea in the misdemeanor license charge, and we will accept the recommendation to amend that charge to failure to display. We will also accept the responsible plea to the speeding charge, and we will dismiss the remaining charge previously read into the record. For failure to display, the fine is $240 plus an additional $45 mandatory reinstatement fee. That's $285. And for the speeding charge, 11 to 15 miles over the speed limit, that fine is $150. So the total is $435. And the time frame for payment is 30 days.
Your Honor,
Yes.
my client, while employed at a group home, is solely responsible for 2 minor children. We are requesting that she receive 60 days to pay.
Okay, we can do that. We can give you 60 days to pay. And if you need to work out an installment payment plan, we will allow you to do that, but you have to go into the courthouse in order to make that happen on the first floor at the pay window. And that installment payment plan will let you pay on these tickets so that you don't have to pay it all at once. But we will give you a full 60 days to pay in full. Any questions, Ms. Sweitzer?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, and you may disconnect from the hearing. And we're going to bring in now Jasmine. Is Jasmine Stevenson is still in the waiting room. We just brought her in. Case number SP127-56631. Jasmine Stevenson, the charge is no insurance. Ms. Jasmine Stevenson, thank you.
Yes,
Please say your name for the record.
Jasmine Stevenson.
Thank you. And who's representing Ms. Stevenson?
Good morning, Your Honor. Sharon Payne, P38749, representing Ms. Stevenson. Your Honor, we have had an opportunity to discuss this matter. I've advised her of her trial rights relative to the charge. There is an offer by the prosecution that if she would plead guilty to the no insurance misdemeanor, it would be amended to improper plates.
Thank you.
She wishes to avail herself of this offer.
Thank you very much. Ms. Stevenson, you've heard the representation of your lawyer. Are you in agreement with that representation?
Yes,
Ms. Stevenson, were you advised of your right to a trial?
yes,
Ma'am, do you understand that if you were to have a trial, normally it would take place inside of the 36th District Court, but because of the pandemic, the courthouse is closed to the public. And so you have agreed to participate on the Zoom technology today, is that right?
yes,
Ms. Stevenson, did you have an opportunity to speak to the attorney about all of your rights?
yes.
Ma'am, did anyone force you, threaten
No,
you, or promise you anything in exchange for your plea?
no,
Are you pleading guilty of your own free will?
yes,
Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty?
yes,
And do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are waiving or giving up your right to a trial?
yes,
Ms. Stevenson, please raise your right hand and be sworn. Ma'am, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge and belief?
yes,
You may lower your hand on the date, the time, and the location indicated in the ticket, ending in 56631. Were you driving a motor vehicle in the city of Detroit?
Yes.
Were you stopped by a police officer?
Yes.
Did that officer ask you for valid insurance?
Yes.
Were you able to give that officer valid insurance?
No.
All right, Ms. Payne, are you satisfied?
Defense is satisfied, Your Honor.
The court will accept the guilty plea, being satisfied with the factual basis. We will accept the recommendation to amend the charge to improper plates. That fine is $105. You have 30 days to pay. Is that going to be enough time for you, Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
All right. You can pay that online, 36districtcourt.org, or online on the DivDat app, or in person if you need to come into the courthouse on the first floor at the pay window, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, and you may disconnect. Now, Ms. Payne, I have Mr. Sims, John Sims, is that right? Did we hear
That's
Mr.?
correct, Your Honor. That's a plea as well.
All right, then we're going to call Mr. Sims, and that case number is SP 135-99531. John Henry Sims, the charge is driver's license suspended. Count 2, expired plates, and count 3 is no proof of insurance. Mr. John Henry Sims, if you're in the virtual courtroom, please say your name for the record.
John Sims.
Mr. Sims, you had no ability to connect with the video camera today?
No, ma'am.
All right, who's representing Mr. Sims?
Good morning, Your Honor. Sharon Payne, P38749, representing Mr. John Sims. Your Honor, I've had an opportunity to talk to Mr. Sims. I've advised him of his trial rights, the charges he is facing, and the offer by the prosecution, which is if he were to plead responsible to the expired plates ticket, they would dismiss counts 1 and 3, which are the driving while license suspended and no proof of insurance. And Mr. Sims indicated he understands his rights and he wishes to avail himself of that plea offer.
All right, Mr. Sims, you've heard the representation of your lawyer. Are you in agreement with that representation?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sims, because you are pleading to a civil infraction, the court does not need to swear you in or to take a factual basis. We merely need you to plead responsible to the charge in ticket ending in 99532 on the date, time, and location in that ticket. Sir, were you driving a motor vehicle and in the city of Detroit, and you're pleading responsible to the charge of expired plates? Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That fine, the court will accept that responsible plea. We will accept the recommendation to dismiss the remaining 2 charges previously read into the record. Your fine is $145, and that amount is due within 14 days since it is a civil infraction. Can you pay that $145 within 14 days?
No, ma'am.
How much time do you need? 30 days? 30 days, Mr. Sims? Is that going to be good?
30 days is good.
Okay, so we'll give you 30 days to pay. And you can pay it online, 36districtcourt.org, or online on the DivDat app, or in person on the first floor of the courthouse. Any questions, Mr. Sims?
No, ma'am.
You may disconnect from the hearing, sir.
All right.
I have one other person, Ms. Payne, in the waiting room. That's Jasmine Smith. Is Ms. Smith pleading?
1 second, Your Honor. I don't believe I've spoken to her.
No?
Wait a second. Jasmine Smith?
Yes. Okay, I'll leave the live stream and give you an opportunity to see who this is.